This was station 1 of our multi-station lab, in which we had to videotape what happened in the lab. And what we had to do was we had to put a variety of salts, as well as a sample of zinc and a sample of water, under a Bunsen burner and see what happened to them once they began to burn. The first one to react was Surcos, and what happened to the Surcos was it immediately caught fire and charred and turned black. It's being shown right there in the video, but we believe that the paraffin might have melted down first. We couldn't capture it in the video, but we are assuming that the paraffin melted first because by the time the flame burnt out for the Surcos, the paraffin was already melted down into a liquid. Now, the NaCl and the potassium iodide. NaCl is also a table salt, by the way, just regular sodium chloride. But those did not react much at all throughout the entire test, as you'll see in the video as well. The water began to boil almost immediately. Well, not almost, yeah, almost immediately. And the zinc was not affected whatsoever. That was sort of our control. That was not affected. The aluminum cups did char a little bit, but that was mostly just because of the contents within them. So at this point in the video, the Surcos is blackened and charred because it already caught fire. The paraffin is beginning to smoke, but it is already melted down to a liquid. The potassium iodide was not affected whatsoever. The table salt was not affected whatsoever. That would be the sodium chloride, and the water H2O began to boil and evaporate, as you'll see in the video a few times. Now, in this point in the video, the paraffin is also starting to boil and most likely evaporate. So yeah, that's Matt Oliver. He's a good kid. So the one in the top left of the video is the Surcos, because it's blackened and it caught fire in the beginning of the video. The one in the middle on the left is the paraffin, the one that we believe was the first to react and it is now smoking in the video. The zinc is just below the paraffin on the left side. That's our control metal. On the top right is the potassium iodide. That one was not affected. The sodium chloride is just below that, and that also wasn't affected. And in the lower right corner was the water, the H2O, and that began to boil and evaporate almost immediately. Yeah. So, for the most part, everything's reacted in this point in the video, except for the paraffin, which has one more reaction eventually towards the end of the video, which you will see. This is kind of a slow point, so I really don't know what to say. But, yeah. At this point, the aluminum cups are starting to heat up as well. The paraffin's smoking just a little bit more now. The water is really boiling, and it's shaking, as you see in the video, because of the intensity of the boiling. The cup of paraffin, strangely, started to turn brown. That must have been from the heat, maybe. But yeah, the aluminum began to turn brown, almost like it was heating up as well. Again, the salt and the sodium chloride did not really get affected, and the potassium iodide didn't really get affected too much either. But this point in the video is when the paraffin begins to really boil and catch fire. The cup that's on fire is the paraffin, and it made a much larger flame than the Surcos. And yeah, and then it begins to die out.